Let's start our story before Weskton was founded. In a seed from another plane, there was a major city named Glassford. In Glassford, a company by the name of Nickrail had started to gain a monopoly on railroad. This monopoly gave the Nick family an insane amount of money and immense power over Glassford. With this power, the Knicks started to gain a desire for railroad supremacy. Railroads, trolleys, subways. If it had some sort of rail, Nickrail had it. Anytime a company tried to even suggest a different type of transportation, Nickrail would just snuff them out. With each buyout, Nickrail's hunger for more rail would never weaken. It only grew in strength. Well, there was one exception. All of the Nickrail CEOs had a soft spot for aircraft and even saw value in them due to overseas travel. This would not stop them from trying to research a rail system that could work across oceans, but this would fail each and every time. With time, Glassford started to seem too small for Nickrail. In response, the Knicks started to create railroad towns all connected to Glassford, each ran by a descendant of the Nick family. Most of the landowners of these future towns could not turn down or even fathom the amount of money the Knicks would offer. All of these offers would be quickly accepted with little to no hesitation. All except for one. This particular owner knew exactly what his land contained. The Knicks had a strange feeling that could not be explained. The feeling was that this land could be the secret to trains being capable of sea travel, but little did they know it was capable of so much more. Weskton, before the buyout, was not really a town. It was more like a single member living by himself in a forest. This member went by the name Brennan. Brennan was a simple man who was teaching himself redstone by creating little self-sustaining farms. He had created a tiny melon farm, a sugarcane farm, and an auto chicken cooker. Other than his knowledge of redstone, Brennan was a simple man. Nickrail originally found Brennan taking care of a giant tree nearby his house. You could see this tree from miles away, which the Knicks saw with dollar signs. When the current CEO of Nickrail approached Brennan about buying the land, Brennan simply said he was not the sole owner. He said the other co-owner went by the name the admin. When Nickrail asked about the admin, Brennan mentioned he had not been around for a long time, but he was able to contact him. Nickrail simply asked how they could contact him, and Brennan simply said, "It's not that simple." Brennan could not go into detail, but he said the admin would be contacted. Nickrail, being a little annoyed, played along to get what he wanted and told Brennan his offer. The next day, Brennan told Nickrail that the admin was unimpressed by the amount of money Nickrail offered for the land and quickly shrugged it off. The reason was Brennan and the admin had zero need for the money. This put Nickrail in unfamiliar territory. Nickrail wanted something so badly, but didn't know how to get it. One thing Brennan was in need of was more redstone, because he had scoured the land for it with little success. Once Nickrail heard of this, they knew how to acquire the land. They went to Brennan one last time and offered him so much redstone, no one actually knows how much it was. Catching Brennan's attention, the two co-owners finally accepted the trade, but only with a couple of very important stipulations. First, Brennan keeps ownership of the land for his house and the land around the Great Tree. Second, Brennan and the admin can build whatever they want to help Weskton. Third, Brennan is the official Redstoner of Weskton. Fourth, Nick, the current CEO, must live around Weskton. And finally, the contract must be signed at 1:13 a.m. Alaskan Daylight Time. After acquiring the land, Nickrail started construction on the first rail line that would connect Weskton to the seaport arrival for Weskton of Nickrail, called Spawn by the locals. This railroad, unlike other initial lines from other railroad towns, could not directly connect to Glassford due to the major ocean between the two locations. Spawn was constructed to be the seaport of Weskton. Nickrail constructed a lighthouse and would need to hire a resident from Glassford to move to Spawn and become the first lighthouse keeper. This resident was a man by the name Zach. This line would connect 4 locations together. These locations are Spawn, Nick's house, Weskton Town Center, and a mysterious house Nick discovered while surveying the area. This mysterious house got a special station because Nick was hoping to make whoever lived there a customer of Nickrail. This would backfire because after construction, Nick asked Brennan about if anyone lived there. Brennan said he did not know who lived there, but periodically saw progress made on the building whenever he walked by. After hearing this, Nick gave the location a population of 0.43 and named this unknown population Matt. While the rail line was being constructed, Nick also constructed his house. Nick chose to build in the nearby mountains to allow him to look over his town. Nick would create a majestic bridge in front of his house to welcome everyone to Weskton. At first, Nick loved having everyone go through his house because of his love of trains. This quickly wore out as Nick made a bypass within the month. This bypass had a section specifically made to admire his bridge before crossing it on the way to Weskton. Once you got into Weskton, you would arrive in the train station next to the Great Tree. This train station acted both as a train station and as a guest center. It would provide access to a nearby hotel for new villagers to live, swim, shop, and see Weskton's fox mascots. Weskton adopted foxes as the town mascot when a fox took refuge in the original rail line. This fox would be named Staples. Staples and his brothers would be kept in this line for a little bit while the train station was being constructed. After the station was finished, Nick moved them to a special pen built into the train station. The growth of Weskton was known as the Golden Age of Nickrail. Weskton would gain a reputation and attract many people to the area with hopes to change their lives for the better. A short distance from Weskton's town center, a neighborhood started to form. After some time, this neighborhood grew to become an incredible community where everyone knew everyone by name. Everyone from this neighborhood worked at the trading center in the train station. This trading center would turn the train station into a building block of Weskton. Nickrail, being the owner of the building, obviously took a cut of the income. Nick promised to use this income to improve Weskton and attract more residents. Weskton was growing quickly, a model of urban development, until one night, a night not like any before it. A sinister purple glow was suddenly cast over the town square. This glow was being cast by a new, rather large and mysterious crystal that appeared seemingly out of thin air. Upon its discovery the next morning, Nick immediately ran over to Brennan thinking this was his work. Brennan had zero idea what Nick was talking about and said that he hadn't built anything. Nick understandably did not trust Brennan and took him over to the mysterious crystal. Upon seeing the crystal, Brennan was immediately intrigued but had no idea what this was, or more importantly, what it did. Little did the residents of Weskton know, this was the start of something bigger.